Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our first organic agriculture class field trip. I'm your course coordinator. My name is Emil, and I was the former assistant course coordinator of this course. And Prof. Ray is the original teacher. I was asked to teach this course this semester, and he will be my assistant course coordinator. However, in terms of expertise, he's more expert than me because he's been teaching the course for a long time. So he will be with us today because he's the best in facilitating field trips. So you would learn a lot from him and from our resource persons. I came from Pagsangan, and formerly I was a campsite manager. And then I launched an organic farm project out of this course. And then I resigned from that work and have my own organic farm. So currently, I'm a full-time organic farmer, and I'm practicing what I learned from the class 2 semesters ago and the things that I'm teaching you. And also, I would like to call Prof. Ray. By the way, I'm an agricultural engineer by profession. So I'm a graduate of UPLB also. And I worked in several companies before until I found my true passion in farming. Prof. Ray, kindly introduce yourself.
For 30 years, I have been teaching forest biology, particularly zoology, ecology, and entomology. We are 65 kilometers from Manila, and so we brought you here because this is the nearest forest ecosystem from Manila. And we would try to seize this opportunity while the forest is still here in Mount Makiling. We mean a secondary forest because unlike the forest in Mindanao, the forest in Makiling is a secondary forest. This is a very young forest ecosystem, 40 million years old, because the mountain erupted 40 million years ago. And so all the things that we could see have built-in adaptation, plants and animals, to exist until today. Their kind, their species. So 40 million years. The trees are not that tall, unlike those in Mindanao. Maybe only 30 meters, the average height of trees. So the trees here are actually young. Why? Because of the soil formation is not that organic after the eruption of the volcano. So the organic matter, the humus that we could see this morning, has been here and developed for 40 billion years. The forest ecosystem is actually rich. After the two, we could enumerate some of the species that we could see. We could not find all the species this morning, but we hope to see some of them and study or review the role of these organisms. Gusto ko na kagad mag-react sa inyong sinabi, lalo na kay Arthur, tungkol sa kakao. Kasi yung binanggit niya, yung pest and diseases, depende ho yan doon nga sa pagkakaniman mo. Kaya hinihikayat ka namin na mag-organic ka agad kasi ang kakao galing sa forest, rich in organic matter. Kung kukunti na yung nutrients, babanatan talaga yan ng pest and diseases. Kaya siguradong pag-organic ka kung ayaw mo magkaroon ng pest and diseases. Ang nalawa, ang reaction ko dyan, ang local demand ay tumataas na sa kakao at napakaganda niyang i-intercrop lalo na sa mga coastal areas ng mga ninyong dito yung gusto ng kakao. So, ang aking mungkahi, bago ko makalimutan sa ating action plan, mismo ang inyong kasalukuyang project ay pwede na ninyo gawa ng action plan. Sa iyo naman ay maghahanap ka pa ng farm. Sinisigurado bago magtapos ang field trip number 3, may ideya ka na kung ano ang gagawin sa iyong 2 hectares, 1 hektarya o 5 hektarya na lote. Yan pong sa action plan, ito na nga po mismo ang gusto nating ilagyan ng palaman na sana ay pumunta na sa mode na organic. Bakit? Mas mura, mas ligtas, at mas maraming tao ang matutulungan nito. Sa ating pong field visit number 2, tayo ay pupunta sa isang marginalized communities. Ito po ay mga relocated, mga informal settlers from Metro Manila na dinala sa Laguna National Housing Authority. Sorry for that. In our next trip, field trip number 2, we would be visiting a marginalized community where we could see how the potentials from a natural ecosystem were harnessed by these poor women to raise their own vegetables. And then we will also visit the farm of Emil, because Emil is just starting his farm. How many months old, Emil?
I started last February, but there's a long story about that. I transferred from one farm to another. This is a third and final farm that I'm renting, and eventually I'm planning to buy that like after 2 years. So, like in the current farm that I'm renting, I've been there for like 3 months, almost 2 months. Yeah, but I started February from different places.
And so if you are planning to develop your farm, that's why I invited Emil in the OA team, because he's the right person, he's doing it. There are many failures, there are also success, and these are the things we want to share with you. Some practical experiences. But this morning, we would like to refresh your memories of the some theories from nature. And I think this is my role today. I could not answer all your questions, but if you feel that you would like to have your questions answered right away, please ask me your questions while we are touring the place. This is the location map of MBG. We would try, where are we?
You are here.
We are here. So, we would try to go through this road and then go there and return using this trail and then back. There are two ecosystems here. We have the forest ecosystem and we have the river ecosystem. The river ecosystem connects the mountain to Laguna Lake. We have Laguna Lake there, and then the Pasig River connects Laguna Lake to the Manila Bay. So what we do in the forest would have impact on two types of ecosystems, three ecosystems: the river, the lake, and finally the marine ecosystem. And so you could imagine why we have a strong position. If this entire area would be mined like those mountains in Mindanao, what would happen to the marine ecosystem? So I hope you have browsed over the Blue Economy book, which is now very popular. The global concept, a new paradigm on development, rural development, it's very important. So this morning we will try to connect these things, this paradigm on ecology and the new concept on marketing. A more sustainable approach to handling natural ecosystems and how people, especially the marginalized communities, would have access to the benefits from the ecosystem. We have the ecosystem services, sustaining, regulating, provisioning, and the cultural services. I think it's those four services we would try to feel in visiting the different spots of the Makiling Botanic Garden. This is a reserved area, a protected area, but the administrator of the entire Makiling Forest Reserve is the University of the Philippines of Los Baños. What you could hear right now are insects. It's an orchestra called cicada. They sing throughout the day when the weather is good, and they sing up to 5 or 6 p.m. It's just like, these are all males. You could not hear the females because female cicada could not sing. Sila ay pipi. Kasi ang nag-attract lang naman sa female, siyempre yung lalaki. So in this species, in this group of organisms, there is already discrimination or segregation of gender. The males sing, the female could not. And then they live for 17 years, feeding on the roots of plants, almost all kinds of plants, even trees. So they live this way. Without the trees, the cicada would be gone. Most of the trees here are native trees, except for mahogany. This is a tall mahogany because the College of Agriculture, the School of Forestry in 1910 was opened through the assistance of the Americans. In 1910, the Americans developed these formerly cogonal areas into something like this. So they planted native trees, also exotic trees. And the most prominent is the mahogany. Mahogany is not native to the Philippines. It comes from Central South America.
Yung DNR po ba, alam, hindi na sila nagpapatanim ng...
Nagpapatanim pa.
Yes,
May
thank you,
sumasagot
Director.
doon. May sumasagot doon.
Dr. Siring is formerly the head of the Climate Change Commission. I'm glad she is here. I was frightened a while ago. Is she the head of the Climate Change Commission?
Kasi nakakita pa po ako ng nagpo-propagate pa, nagtatanim pa.
Yung bagong sekretary yun ang kanyang program.
Yeah. Kasi ma'am, may pera din dyan eh. So let's not forget that things operate. The market demand, napakataas pa rin po. Yes.
Are all exotic trees discouraged, or there are some that are...
Very good question. Not all. Ang isang exotic tree na napakaganda ay kakawate. Sa iyong kakao, kailangan mo ng kakawate kasi it has to have a nursery.
Yeah.
And then yung leaves ay nagsusupply ng nitrogen. Napakagandang green manure ng kakawate. In fact, yan ang ginagamit namin sa paminta. Pamaya makikita nyo sa Batangas. It's a very good tree. And the wood is very good.
Yung neem tree ba pwede? Kakatanim ko lang.
Neem tree, hindi naman siya ganoon ka bioinvasive. May insecticidal properties din yung neem tree. Pero huwag mong gagamitin sa iyong pag-compose dahil doon sa insecticidal property. Mayroon siyang acidiractin, yung kanyang fruit. Pag nakain ng insekto, nagiging abnormal ang kanyang ovary. Sa insects lang yan. Kaya ginagamit yan sa India, widely famous in India for its insecticidal properties. This is the seedling. The artist's interpretation, a big seedling of dipterocarp, a pitong. We call it a pitong. One of the most dominant dipterocarp in the Sierra Madre in Mindanao. They grow as tall as 30 to 60 meters. A pitong. The character of these trees is that they are straight bold, magandang poste. Kaya makikita ninyo, yung mga diretso dyan ang trunk. Lahat po yan ay dipterocarp. So, a pitong is a species called dipterocarp. Bakit? Dalawa ang kanyang wings. Itong buto, may dalawang pakpak. Kaya dip. Yung doon sa dipterocarp, yung two. Yung tero, winged. Yung carp naman yun yung buto. So, two-winged seed. So, the seedling grows in an environment where the energy is not that strong. Unlike the mother, where it is an emergent species. That means it absorbs sunlight and the canopy is exposed for many hours, receiving energy from the sun. But the seedling is the opposite. The seedling thrives in an environment where there is low energy from the sun. It could not survive. So if you plant a seedling right there in the grassland, your reforestation project would fail. So most of our reforestation projects fail because of this poor understanding of the energy and water relations, adaptation of the species being planted. Let's go down to the basic. Water, nutrients, and energy. The character of our forest ecosystem is that it is one of the highest in terms of diversity. There are so many species of plants and animals inside. And this is the kind of agriculture that we want to promote because we would have more options in the market. Over there is a tree with white flowers that is called kahoy dalaga. This is one of the native trees that we have. This is the parent stock of the donias that we have. If you remember Doña Eva, Doña Aurora, Doña Luz, The names are, the plant is named after the first ladies of the former presidents. Ano? We have Doña Cory, we have Doña Imelda. I think we have 21 in the list. Now, I touch this because in agriculture, most of the plants and the seeds that we could buy from the market are hybrids. And the hybrids, of course, are controlled by those who produce it. And it's also controlled, of course, by the enormosity of the capital. It depends on the capital and the influence of the producer or of the inventor in the market. Now, remember, if they have the monopoly, if they have the patent, then they could control the distribution of these products in the market. So if you go to a hardware like Ace Hardware, all the seeds that you could buy there, Ramgo and others, they are all hybrids. So right now, I'm telling you that most of those are not natural. They are hybrids. They are man-made.
You could comment on the courses that TESDA is offering with organic farming.
Remember, there are many things of presenting a product. There are also many ways of presenting services. That's why we brought you here, that organic agriculture is not just technological in nature. It is only one mode. Another mode is, before you examine the technology, you look at the foundation where the technology stands, or where the technology is based. And so we brought you here hoping, before we left this place, you would bear in mind that there are some matters to consider.
Sir, if I could answer. Actually, I've attended some of the courses offered by DA about organic farming. Most of them would just go directly on making of concoctions, FPJ, FAA, and other technologies, and those are good. However, with UPOU's organic agriculture, we really focus first on the foundation, like what Sir said, the foundation and the principles, because that's very important. I'm a member of a farmers organization, and the problem with them is that they don't understand fully the depth of what is it with organic agriculture. So that's why, if they face some challenges, they would go back to conventional farming. So I think that's the difference about the courses offered by other agencies.
You discussed earlier that we are mimicking the forest ecosystem. So there goes the monocropping and multicropping. My question is, how would I consider a farm monocropping and multicropping? Example, a 200 meter squared farm planted 5 crops versus a 10-hectare farm planted also 5 crops. Multicropping na ba si 10-hectare farm or not?
Pareho namang multi-cropping. He is talking about the number. Now, I brought you here to show you the structure of the forest. Look at that. See this side, no? This is a multi-species, multi-storied stand of trees. The best in agriculture is to capture the design of the forest. That means it's not only multi-species stand or multi-crop stand, but the structure also of your crops. There should be trees that should protect your farm, especially to strong typhoons and long dry season. We have now some inoculants, even in medicine, antibiotic, mga fungi po yan, fighting bacteria, na ginagamit na. So, ikinukonsider po lahat yan. Kaya if we could appreciate the different actors in this ecosystem, we will have endless list of opportunities sa market and then dun sa everyday living. Kasi malalaman natin paano makakatulong yan sa ating everyday living in terms of health, welfare, well-being. Yung iba pumupunta lang sa forest para huminga. Deep breathing. Bakit? Mas maraming oxygen. So you could imagine the carbon dioxide that could be sequestered by this environment. So kung ganun din ang inyong farm, hindi lang doon sa inyong kukuhaning ani, kundi doon sa may iba pang sustaining and regulating function ng inyong farm na kinokopya natin itong forest. Ano yun? Yung pagbibigay ng oxygen, pag-sequester ng carbon dioxide, pag-decrease ng solar radiation. So ang ini-offer ng nature, baka naman may alternative. Katulad din dito sa organic agriculture, baka naman merong kang soil conditioner, hindi ka nabibili ng trace elements na napakamahal, ang isang tree company sa Mindanao bumili ng boron, in-import sa US, in France, napakamahal until the project failed kasi yung ROI ay bumaba dahil sa mahal ng input. So things like this. What more of the, again, going back to the middle class and to the poor segment of our society that we want, poverty which we want to address. These colored spots here are actually lichens. Ang lichens is always a combination of algae and fungi. Dalawa lang ho yan lagi. One, that species could not live without the other. Many fungi could live independently, but this type of fungi in this lichen could not. It should always thrive with an algae because the algae could is the source of nutrients. Some green ones could even photosynthesize. These green ones here are actually mosses thriving on the bark of trees. So they get their nutrients from the leachate of rain water flowing down from the lichens, from the bark. That's the only time that they could have a share of the nutrients. So always watch out. I will be talking in terms of energy, nutrients, water, because these are also the foundation, the basis of our gardening, of our farming. So when you plant, you would remember what we are discussing here to emulate the laws of nature. What is it? In terms of nutrient cycling, from the top down here, you could imagine the amount of nutrients being collected by the stem flow, by the water, rainwater flowing on the bark. So the organisms here, which are dependent on even on micronutrients, there are 14 elements needed by plants. The water is very rich. So they naturally fertilized if the water is flowing down. So when we design our farm, when the water flows through the garden or our creek flows through the farm, we should also emulate this rule of nature, that the nutrients, the waste of one would be the input to another. If there are so many relationships in a farm, in a garden, that mimics this kind of relationship, then we would have a very small amount of energy needed. We would even do away with the greenhouse gases. So most of the leguminous trees in this forest survive. They're supplied with enough nitrogen because the bacteria in the nodules of the roots could fix nitrogen from the air. By the way, let me discuss it here. The nutrient cycling, the recycling of biomass, the essence of organic agriculture. The foundation why you should regenerate your farm. Those who have farms, those who would be starting farms, even a grassland area or an area with kugon, we could regenerate the soil by emulating the laws of nature. How? Now you could regenerate your farm, your gardens right now, if you could hasten the decomposition of the biomass, plant biomass in your area or in your neighbor's place. You could also do that. And use the humus or compost to restore the lost nutrients in your garden, in your farm. And this twig will not decompose alone if the fungus alone would act on it. There would be bacteria after the fungal invasion. And so what do these microorganisms do to this hard or material with a lot of lignin, hard to decompose? They produce enzymes that would dissolve the tissues of this wood. Of course, the leaves are easier to decompose because of the volume. Look at this. Once these enzymes have been produced, this would decay. It would soften. Lalambot ito. Pag lumambot, alam mo na, ay, nabulok na. So, everything, every living organism is subjected to that. How about microorganisms when they die? Oh, right away. In a matter of seconds, they release all the contents of their bodies, of this microorganism. And what happens to the nutrients? Of course, they are absorbed readily kasi dissolved na yun from the bodies of the microorganisms. So, every second or in less than a second, the trees are provided with millions of bodies of dead organisms. and then another organism is produced by cell division. Hindi naman nauubos yun. And so the cycle goes on and on. So the function of the microorganism, do not underestimate the function because we could not see. It's only under the microscope that we could see this. But there are trillions of microorganisms in these decomposing leaves and twigs. After this station, I would show you how we harness in my place these microorganisms to employ the poor. So I would now build the connection. If you appreciate this relationship, then you could bring benefits to more people. This is the economy that we want. Inclusive. Question. Again, the cicada. That means the weather is good. I hope we could find some birds. With this volume of my voice, the birds will fly away because the birds are afraid, of course, of mammals. As a defensive mechanism, they fly away. But you could hear that bird over there, a kind of robin. It has a nice song. Yeah, that one. It's a black and white bird. It always sings, you know, during daytime. Very good, very good. So, could you feel the oxygen? Of course, you could feel the humidity. But please take a deep breath in, exhale in, inhale, exhale, because we have a lot of oxygen. Okay. So again, before leaving this, the lichens play a very important role because they capture energy, nutrients from their environment and release these nutrients, and the other organisms like the mosses capture them. And then when the mosses die, all of these nutrients, the lichens nutrients, and would go down, and finally the roots of higher plants. Okay. There are two groups of organisms. Isang malaki, isang maliit. Micro, yung malaki, macro. Then, ang fruiting body niya, kapag naging malapit na siyang magbigay ng spores, they could multiply because of the spores. Yun ang pinakabuto nila. Ang buto, yung spores nang gagaling dito sa fruiting bodies called mushrooms. Ito. So, itong buong paligid na ito, at night, sasabog yan. No? They would puff, and millions of spores would be distributed, dispersed in the environment. Napaka-humid naman ng environment, so madaling mag-germinate yung spores. Ano? So pag lakad ng termite, when the termite walks over the hyphae, especially of the fruiting bodies, they would spread the spores all throughout. Kaya doon hanggang doon sa loob, may fungus. Kaya sa composting, pinapasred itong mga ganito para mabilis yung decomposition. Spiders would eat other insects that could harm your plants. All spiders are predators. Remember, all spiders are predators. They even eat others, their own siblings, their own kind. What is the most numerous animal in the forest and similar to your farm? Tell me. What group?
Ants. Termites.
What group of animals?
Insects.
Okay, insects. So most probably the pest that would come out in your farm are the insects. So I think I have at least given you an idea. Between species there are differences even among fungi. This is the genetic diversity we call. Even among kinds of plants and animals, this is the species diversity. And then two, the ecosystem diversity. Now there's a lot of insects shredding the leaves. The leaves that fell down on the water are eaten by insects. They become food. So again, the waste of one becomes the food of another. I would say that all rivers build the connection between the terrestrial and the marine environment. Sila yung magko-connect sa dalawang ecosystem, even to the lake. So they should also be conserved. Ang ginagawa ng iba, nire-reclaim para lumapad yung lupa nila, wala na yung riparian environment. Itong riverbanks. Tatambakan na lang yan, i-riprap. This is the kind of development which is anti-environment. What are the traits of this ecosystem? Everything is integrated, interdependent. The existence of one depends on the other existence of another. And the waste of one would be the input or food of the other.
Sir, may demarcation ba ang natural farming at saka organic farming?
Walang clear demarcation. Halos pareho na rin yun natural farming. Yung kaingin ba at saka rice terraces ng mga Ifugao, organic farming ba yun?
Yes.
No.
It's not
But-
necessarily.
It's
Kasi pag
it's not natural farming, but it's organic. It's natural but not organic.
It will not be organic farming.
Okay. Kung gumamit sila ng synthetic inputs, hindi na organic farming.